Tales of true life rescues now on BBC One with 999 Lifesavers.
Tonight, lost at sea, alone for 17 hours. The lifesavers in leather on the streets of Bristol. And at a party, somebody's drunk or poisoned. But would you know the difference? Windsurfing is one of the fastest developing. Now, Colin Harvey wasn't when he was windsurfing off the coast of Scotland in the summer. He was wearing much darker clothing. And that's one of the main reasons why what should have been a routine rescue turned into something a lot more complicated. Last summer, the Harvey family went on holiday to the Bay of Luce. In this reconstruction, the children take part as themselves, but the parents are played by actors.
It's so peaceful. You can have a rest and recharge your batteries.
I'm a lean fighting machine, you know that.
Oh, I like this song, you.
There's myself, my husband Colin.
It's better than that rubbish that you two like.
Alistair, who's 16, and Christopher, who's 14.
Hey, just steady on.
We're two totally different people. Colin is an extrovert, whereas I'm extremely quiet, reserved, and I flap very easily.
Listen, when I'm on that water, I'm like a dolphin.
It was Colin's birthday.
It's my birthday treat, so I'm going for my birthday windsurf. That should only be about an hour and a half.
Colin went out windsurfing alone just after 2 o'clock that afternoon. It wasn't long before he started getting into difficulties.
At that time, I had no idea what was happening to Colin in the water. I just decided to go for a walk on the beach. I heard something like a twig snap, which was a bone in my foot breaking. I'd heard it snap, but I couldn't believe that my bone had actually gone. It just seemed to happen so quickly.
Jim Syme, the caravan park owner, had been alerted by his daughter, who'd seen that Colin was in trouble. They decided they needed help.
I think we'd better
go and get something done about it.
Hello, Clyde.
At 4:30, a distress call was relayed to the Regional Coast Guard in Liverpool.
Don, got a problem in Luce Bay.
The first 15 minutes of any incident are vital to us. The last known position of Colin was close to Sandhead. The nearest response unit was Stranraer Insured Lifeboat. That was followed by Stranraer Coast Guard, Port Whale Insured Rescue Lifeboat, a helicopter from Prestwick.
Arrived on scene.
Kubri's sector officer was requested to the area, along with the police from Stranraer and Sandhead.
I don't know how long I'm going to be, but...
No.
Barbara was sent off to casualty by Marilyn Syme to get her ankle x-rayed. But an hour later, there was still no sign of Colin.
The problem was he was invisible to the search units. He was wearing a blue suit, blue buoyancy aid, clear sail, white sailboard, and that blended exactly into the conditions. Port Whale up to...
The next step was to use a computer to predict where Colin might be.
The computer is good for us. If we input wind, tide, local information, that will result in the best search area.
Okay, third coordinate.
The coordinates are then plotted on the chart, but then all search units are then redesignated into that area for the search.
I came back from the hospital about 6 o'clock and Marilyn met me at the house. I was in a lot of pain from my foot, and I think I was in shock as well.
Is he here yet?
No, they're out looking for him now.
Marilyn took me into the house, where I was met by a policeman.
Does Colin have any medical problems at all that we should be looking at?
Well, he does suffer slightly from asthma.
Just asthma.
I remember PC lawyers being very kind and considerate. He asked questions he had to ask, but he obviously found them very difficult to ask. I just don't think I could have had anybody better than he was.
I'll come back and see you regardless of what the news is.
Nothing at all? No board?
At 7 o'clock, the night shift went on duty in Liverpool. Colin was still missing.
Colin had been in the water by this time for 5 hours. It just doesn't seem to make sense when you're covering the same area over and over again. You do your computer predictions, and it still doesn't come up. The problem now we're facing was the dark.
10 o'clock, and more questions for Barbara.
When I'm on that water, I'm like a dolphin. I'm a lean fighting machine, you know that.
Mr. Harvey.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just one last thing. Can I ask Colin's dentist, please?
Dentist?
Yeah, as I explained earlier.
I understood the question. I realised that if they found a body,
Yes.
it would be distorted by water, and they wouldn't want to put me through identifying the body. I was a little bit distressed, but I did understand why he was asking it.
Don't give up hope, it's not a lost cause.
Later on, I was told that they were going to scale down the search for the night, as it was getting dark that they couldn't search.
It wasn't looking very promising at that stage. Then we got news that the RAF was sending in a helicopter with thermal imaging, which means that they could detect Colin's body heat.
Back at sea level, the only vessel still out was the Port Patrick lifeboat, but eventually even they had to give up the search.
Well, it got to about 4 o'clock in the morning, and still no success. Now, the guy had been in the water for 13 or 14 hours by this time, and we're really starting to get concerned. I ran it through the computer one more time. We knew we were going to get another helicopter at first light from RAF Valley in Wales, so let's see if we can get a smaller search area. You begin to wonder, have you missed anything? Is he there at all? Is he still alive?
Dawn, and Colin Harvey was still alive and reflecting on an ordeal that had lasted nearly 17 hours.
I'd been out for about half an hour. After a while, I found that the wind had picked up a bit more and I couldn't control the board anymore. And later on, I could see what I thought was a boat in the distance. So I decided I'll keep the sail, but throw away the mast and the boom. As I got closer, I realised that it was a target barge used by the Air Force. So I kept paddling for it, and I got almost towards the barge when I got knocked over by a big wave. By this time, the barge had just gone past me. Then I noticed that there was a buoy a bit further away. So I paddled like mad towards it, and I was just reaching out for the buoy, and two big waves came. And then after they'd gone by, the buoy was over there, the wind's pushing me away from over there, and I'm rather disappointed at that stage. I thought, right, nothing else but get the sail, wrap it tightly around me, and just sort of sit here. By the time it got dark, that was probably the lowest point I'd been. I know there's an option of give up. It might be easier to just go for a swim and not come back up again, but it's an option up here. It's not something I actually can do. It was getting towards 7 o'clock when I heard the helicopter in the morning, and it was coming closer and closer.
I'm over here! Help!
We were very pleased that we'd found Mr. Harvey alive. It was something that we weren't necessarily expecting. If he hadn't been as he was on the board when we found him and he'd fallen in the water, the cold shock of the water would have killed him.
Steady with the survivor.
He was a very lucky man.
Somebody up there was looking after him.
He was surprisingly lucid. Anybody that's been cold-soaked, as he had, for a long period of time, is in severe danger of a thing called post-rescue collapse, where they can quite literally collapse from heart failure after being rescued.
We'll get you to hospital as quickly as possible.
Remarkably, Colin was only suffering from mild hypothermia.
Hello, love.
The moment I first saw him, I'll remember all my life
What
now.
have you done? Oh, come here, come on. I'm all right, I'm all right.
It was just fantastic to see him so well and alive.
Fine. I thought you were dead. No, love, I'm all right. It takes more than that to kill me, you know that.
Those couple of days were very traumatic. I've never been through anything as bad as that was.
I could have been feeding the fishes now, but fortunately it didn't turn out that way. And over the next few days I went round and visited all the people that I knew had been involved. Say, thanks for what you've done and sorry to put you through trouble.
Obviously, it's going to take a long time to fade, if ever.
Surfing on calm inland lakes and reservoirs is the foolproof way to avoid getting lost. But you can greatly reduce the risks, even at sea, by following a few basic rules. Check the weather first, especially if you don't know the area well. Don't go out alone. Always go with a friend. If you can't, then make sure someone knows when you're due to return. Use equipment and wear clothing in bright day-glow colours, because if you do get lost, you're going to rely on someone spotting you in the water. And remember, a comprehensive guide on windsurfing safety like this one here can be obtained from any Coast Guard office. It only takes about 5 minutes to read, and it could save you 17 hours at sea.
If you were at a party and noticed somebody slumped in the corner, apparently asleep, you'd probably think they'd drunk a bit too much. But it can be more serious than that. Around 100 people a year are killed by alcoholic poisoning, mostly teenagers who've underestimated the effects of alcohol. That's why we've reconstructed this next incident in the way that we have, because it's not always easy to tell the difference between alcoholic poisoning and somebody who's just plain drunk. But if you were faced with the kind of situation you're about to see, would you know how to help? Would you know what to do?
I told him not to drink so much. It's embarrassing. He's probably gone outside to throw up.
Well, we'd better go see he's okay.
Mike, wake up. Mike, it's not funny anymore. You're going to get us all into trouble.
What's going on, guys? He's just drunk too much. Let him sleep it off. Come on, Tina, let's go.
No, don't just ignore him. That's the worst thing you could do. And you mustn't leave him on his own. It could be much more serious than you think.
Oh, come on. He's just being stupid. Let's go.
He really shouldn't be left on his own.
I have a headache in the morning.
This isn't a joke. He could have alcohol poisoning.
What? He hasn't had that much to drink. Has he?
If he's not used to alcohol or he's drunk a lot quickly, it'll affect him badly. The smaller and lighter he is, the more concentrated the alcohol will be in his blood. You must check to see if he's unconscious. Shake him, talk to him, try to get a response.
He's just asleep, that's all. Oh, mate, can you hear us? Can you sit up?
It's not working. Now, you'll have to ring for an ambulance.
An ambulance? But it's not that bad, is it?
It can be fatal. If he's unconscious and you leave him on his own, he could die.
No, Mike. Mike.
It's okay, look. I'll go inside and phone.
Don't forget to come back and let us know it's on its way. If you don't, someone might have to phone again.
Yeah, sure. You guys wait here.
But he's going to be all right, isn't he?
Come on, Tina, he'll be fine. Let's lift him up, take him inside.
Don't do that. You can't be sure that he didn't hurt himself when he fell. If you move him, you could make things a lot worse.
We can't just wait for the ambulance to arrive. We've got to actually do something.
OK, first of all, check to see if he's breathing.
Yes, he is breathing. I can hear him. He sounds really weird, though.
A large amount of alcohol can affect his breathing and make it irregular. His pulse rate will also speed up. But the most immediate danger is that he'll be sick and choke.
But there's nothing we can do about that.
Yes, there is. You can stop him from choking by lying him in the recovery position. It'll help him breathe more easily by relieving any pressure on his chest.
Here, let me do that. I know how. Give me a hand. And gently. 1, 2, 3.
It'll also keep his airway clear.
The ambulance is on its way. It won't be long.
So far, so good. But there are other dangers here.
Oh, my God. He's really cold.
Freezing. What's the matter with him?
Alcohol affects the body's temperature control. He's losing heat rapidly. Hypothermia is a very real danger outdoors.
Here, give me that coat.
And don't forget to cover his head. A quarter of the body's heat is lost that way alone.
Shouldn't we give him a black coffee to try and sober him up?
Never try to give an unconscious person anything to eat or drink. It'll make them sick or choke. And anyway, black coffee won't work. The only thing that will sober him up is time. Nobody should be in any doubt that alcoholic poisoning is a serious and widespread problem. You know, around 1,000 children aged 15 or under end up in hospital every year because they've drunk too much. Most of them require emergency treatment, like having their stomach pumped out to get rid of the alcohol. If you want to know more about alcoholic poisoning and how to avoid it, then there are these free leaflets available to all 999 viewers. If you want one, then send a large stamped addressed envelope to this address: Alcoholic Poisoning Leaflets, 2D Wimpole Street, London W1M 7AA. And we'll give you that address again later in the programme.
The emergency services are always trying to reduce the time between receiving a 999 call and getting experts to the scene of an incident, because those early minutes can be absolutely vital to a casualty's chances of survival. In big cities, one of their major enemies is the traffic jam, so they've come up with a new weapon. It's the biker paramedic. Using motorcycles like this one here, they stand a much better chance of getting through the worst of the rush hours without wasting those precious golden minutes. 999 has been following one of this new breed of two-wheeled heroes at work on the streets of Bristol. Clive Hadrell is one of 2 biker paramedics in Bristol. He's been doing it for 2 years now, but what still drives him mad is inconsiderate motorists and pedestrians.
This time of the morning, I've got lots of dangerous traffic. Look at them. Just look. Just not looking at all. Look for me. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Thank you. You dozy prat.
Patients are extremely surprised because over the last 2 years we've been running, they've done 999 for a conventional ambulance and are extremely surprised when a motorcycle paramedic turns up in green leathers. I can actually get through gaps which a vehicle in an ambulance has got absolutely no chance. I can reduce the time that it would take an ambulance to get there. Every vehicle I pass, I'm gaining seconds all the time and gaining on that patient prior to the ambulance getting there.
Clive attends about 5 incidents a day, but is pretty much a free agent.
Just to give you a traffic update, I'm so really dependent on what I can hear from the control officer, what he's giving out. And as this information is fed into the system, and I'm listening to it, I've assessed that job as needing paramedical assistance, and pretty urgently.
Right, on the way to a hit and run here. Stop! Stop! Oh, you donut! These hit and runs are certainly becoming a little bit too frequent. Come on, sir, look in your mirror, for God's sake.
Basically, we've got an ambulance on 2 wheels, and everything on board has been absolutely miniaturised to the smallest feature that we can actually purchase. If we look in the top section of the compartment here, what we got is various different pieces of equipment, and the first one we come across is a thing called a LifePack 5 monitor, and this particular piece of equipment allows us to look at the patient's heart to find out indeed what's going wrong, so we can make some form of assessment as to how we treat this patient. And then with drug therapy, we can then combat that to make it even more efficient.
Let's look towards taking this ambulance. Lovely, well done, lad. Brilliant, well done. Look at 101 approaching.
Clive arrives at the hit-and-run incident within 5 minutes of hearing the call and 2 minutes before the ambulance. The victim turns out to be an elderly man.
Now, can you tell me where it hurts the most? Which leg? Your right leg. The gentleman's walking across the crossing here, and it would appear he's been hit from at 90 degrees. So I'm starting to suspect there is some sort of probably injury to the leg. Very early on, we've been able to ascertain the man's got a major problem down in his leg, in so much that his tib and fib is actually broken. Both bones are broken in his lower leg. He's a frail old gentleman, and the view is very, very thin. I just want to get a line up. I want to get some fluids into him. We've given him plenty of oxygen therapy. We've given him plenty of analgesic for the pain relief. He really needs just to be isolated now, and his circulatory system supported with a fluid.
No pain anywhere else.
Good. So we're quite happy now. We've got oxygen therapy, we've got pain relief, we've got cervical region, we've got a mobilised leg, and we've got a full fluid replacement. Okay, we're happy whenever you are. We'll pick him up from there. Excellent job. There we go.
The casualty was taken to the Bristol Royal Infirmary, where he's making a good recovery.
Well done.
Just relax your head down.
These are people that need urgent medical attention, and that's what the paramedic on a motorcycle can provide to that patient. provide it in a very short space of time. So the resource is flexible, it's fast, and it's manoeuvrable, all to the benefit of the patient. What helps us tremendously is a good, accurate assessment of the patient's condition, and certainly putting the patient into a good recovery position with good airway maintenance is absolutely top priority. Lots of people die in this country every day, not through their original injury, but because basically they've been left in the wrong position. They've lost the ability to maintain their own airway, and believe it or not, it's their own airway that they've died on. On many occasions we get to somebody whereby members of the public say, oh, we've been doing mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and they've had no success. But what we want them to do is to carry on doing mouth-to-mouth. It does give that patient a very much greater chance of survival.
Your own house should feel the safest place in the world, but more accidents happen in the home than anywhere else. And this is one of the most dangerous places, the kitchen. Every year, for instance, 50 people die as a result of scalds, and more than 70,000 need some kind of hospital treatment. Now, nearly all those accidents could be prevented. Far too many of them happen to children under 5. And this is the main culprit, a hot drink. Now, if a freshly made cup of tea hits you, then the heat burns deeper and deeper, damaging layer after layer of skin, unless it's cooled at once. And I don't mean just splashing it with cold water. Halting the process can take at least 5 minutes. This is the age group that's most at risk from scalds. The problem is that they're mobile and very inquisitive at that age, and they haven't yet learned what's safe and what is not.
Right, there you go. Got no milk left.
In Dean Ramsden's case, it was while his mother was in the same room. In our reconstruction, Dean is played by his own younger brother, but his mother, Denise, appears as herself.
Dean was a typical little boy, basically. He was quite inquisitive, but inquisitive with his own toys or his brother's toys. He wasn't really one for going in the kitchen cupboards. On the morning in question, some friends had called round and I'd gone to make them a cup of tea. Do you know what kids are like? They get up to mischief now and again. The minute you think you're not watching, they'll be into something that they know they're not supposed to be doing. They're very inquisitive and they tend to role play a lot and try to do the things that you do. That particular day probably wasn't getting enough attention and decided, I'll show her, I'll get my own drink. I turned to get the milk. He'd got the chair and climbed up to the cups and tipped it over himself.
Oh my God, Dean!
Well, I knew you had to put the burn under cold water. Then I turned the tap off. I didn't realise it had to stay cold to stop the burn going deeper. Thought I'd done what had to be done and shouted for Harry.
Luckily for Denise, her next-door neighbour Harry Bartrop was a retired ambulance man.
It was a nightmare, really, just screaming what lass, you know. And, I mean, you do get upset when it's your kiddies, don't you? Denise had the baby in the water but turned the tap off. So I told her to turn the tap back on and run the water over his injuries. Well, I knew we had to get Dean to hospital as quick as we can. And we had to keep the wound cool. So I decided then to get some frozen food out of the freezer. I knew I couldn't put the frozen food next to the skin because it could cause freezer burn. So then I covered the frozen food up and then just covered the burns.
I was feeling, oh crikey, what have I done to my little boy, really? Not guilt so much as you have this beautiful little thing and then all of a sudden it's going to be scarred and it's going to be something he's got to live with for the rest of his life as well as me. And I just felt, crikey, what have I done, what have I done? You see people saying, oh, my child got scalded, and you'll sit there, and I did it myself, it'll never happen to me, I will never let that happen to one of my children, but it only takes a second. You only have to turn your back for 1 second and the child's done it.
Hello, this is Dean.
In a child, only 10% of the surface of the body has to be scalded before you're worrying about fluid loss and clinical shock. And he was pretty close to being 10%, and so we were concerned about fluid loss.
Is he going to scar?
We're also concerned with any scald of that size that he could become dangerously ill with infection in the scald. So he required careful nursing treatment with regular cleaning and dressings. It's unpleasant to have to treat these children because you know it's painful for them, you know it's frightening, and you know it's potentially life-threatening, and you know they could end up with permanent scars.
Dean spent 2 weeks in hospital, but now, 5 years later, has made a full recovery.
Because of Harry's prompt action and the speed in which he did actually get to the hospital and get the treatment, the scarring's nearly gone. He's always playing out with his brothers. They all stick together and look out for one another. He's loads of friends, so it hasn't affected him at all.
I went in the kitchen and I tried to get the cup. I fell. I got scolded.
Well, what Harry did was important for Dean. First of all, he reduced the pain by keeping under the water for a significant length of time. Secondly, he reduced the amount of damage that the hot water was causing to Dean's skin. And certainly it meant that the damage was only through part of the thickness of the skin. And potentially by doing that, he saved him from having such severe damage that he required a skin graft. First aid is essential, but prevention is even more important. And what's frustrating, what's upsetting when you see a scalded child is to know that scalds can be prevented.
There's your tea, Dean. Can you put the milk in carefully?
Dean's very wary of hot drinks, but we all are because we know what they can do.
I'm not allowed to make mine until I'm 9 or 8.
A cup of hot coffee or a cup of hot tea is dangerous for at least 5 minutes. That's the time it takes you to answer the door, go to the toilet, answer the telephone. 5 minutes, and that water is still hot enough to cause serious damage to a child for life.
Since that accident, Denise has been on a first aid course. Like so many accidents, it could have been prevented. And don't say it could never happen in your home. That was said by 70 families who ended up in casualty yesterday. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents has these tips to stay safe in your home. First, you can get rid of this trailing flex and replace it with a curly one, the curly one stretch. A cup of tea like this, never put it on the edge of a surface or on a tablecloth that can be yanked off the table by a child. Always put pans on the back ring of a cooker and turn the handle away. And to make sure that the children are safe, fit a child's gate on the kitchen door or make sure that they stay in a playpen so as they can be with you in the kitchen and yet still stay safe. And one more tip. Always put cold water into a child's bath first before you put the hot water in, and that way they don't get scalded. Next week, a police search goes badly wrong when a sniffer dog knocks over a wasp's nest. And the woman trapped in her car, upside down and underwater.
To get a copy of this week's leaflet, send a large stamped addressed envelope to Alcoholic Poisoning Leaflets, 2D Wimpole Street, London W1M 7AA.
On BBC One, the 999 Drink Driving Special. You hear from the police.
I'm arresting you as this indicates the proportion of alcohol in your breath is in excess of the prescribed limit.
You hear from the victims.
Last time I held Nicola's hand, it was limp and cold.
You hear from the drink drivers. That's our 999 special, Tuesday at 10 o'clock on BBC One.